All right, good morning, everybody. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands one more time. And if you got some good-looking people at your table, make some noise for them and clap your hands, everybody. We are ready to get started. Please, everybody, welcome our Vice Chairman of the Greater Bronzeville Community Action Council. He is also the pastor of Glorious Light Church. He is also the founder and CEO of the Timothy Community Center. He is also my neighbor and a Bronzevillian. I am super proud to present to you Pastor Mike Neal as he welcomes us. Clap your hand.
Hey, how y'all doing? Listen, I appreciate this opportunity to welcome you all. What another great event. Trust me, you've already started eating. I won't get in the way of that. One thing Pastor Harris didn't mention is the fact that we are aligned as neighbors, next door neighbors, but yet we pretend like there's not a house in between us. That's how close we are. But we welcome you all here today for our breakfast, and once again, we continue to do great work in the community. And part of that great work stems simply by you showing up. Because give yourselves a round of applause for all the work that you do. Individually, your organizations, and sometimes it's done without fanfare, it's done without cameras, and sometimes without recognition. But God knows. And so we appreciate you all being here, and it's going to be a great day. Just hold on. We have some very important people here who's going to share with you, which, by the way, you are very important people. And so I'm glad that you had a chance to get to know the person eating with you and next to you. And in between bites, make sure you exchange information because we're all on the same journey together. So at this time, once again, thank you for being here. And Pastor Harris, I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
I know y'all got chicken in your hand and sausages. Just say for Pastor Neal. I'm so glad that also his just co-pilot and partner in ministry, community, and life is also here, Lady D. Neal. So thank you so much for being here today before she runs to one of her other meetings. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to take a moment, aren't we grateful when we have community leaders? Does anybody know where Price Elementary School is? Right there on 43rd to 44th and Drexel. That school closed down a long time ago. And guess who took the time to go in there, clean it up, build it up, and open it back up? None other than Pastor and Lady D. We want to thank you all for being the first organization, I thought y'all would clap better than that, to repurpose a school in the greater Bronzeville area. As you all know, 50 schools were closed in Chicago. Many of them, the largest majority of schools that were closed in Bronzeville. So we were impacted most. And Pastor Neal and his church, congregants, along with community partners, went and opened up that school. I think it's 16 years ago. How long ago was it? No, we started the CAC 16 years. Y'all did it 14 years ago. And that school has been open, active, and running as a community center without city funding, without CPS funding, without corporate support. They took money out of their own pockets, took money out of their own congregation, cleaned it up, fixed it up, and filled it up with all kinds of workout opportunity, health and wellness, trauma counseling. It's been amazing. People go there to get their workout on and get fit, and they ride the bikes. I went over there myself. Now, I looked and then I left. I didn't get on the bike, but I was praying for everybody that was on the bike. And everybody was getting healthy. You got to understand that they also started what is called back then Real Men Read. So Pastor Neal was going around reading in all of our schools in our community. It was amazing. Literally replicated the model, and then it turned into learning with literacy. Am I saying that correctly? Learning with literacy, and so they activated. But here's what's amazing. After being a community organization, faith-based organization in the greater Bronzeville community, after being the CAC co-chair with me all of these years, after them bringing in literally thousands of people to come into that repurposed school, unfortunately, they received a letter. They received a letter from Chicago Public Schools, and I want to read it for you. After 14 years of commitment, sacrifice, and sowing, to Glorious Light Church, Pastor Michael Neal, termination of license agreement for 4351 South Drexel Boulevard, the school you repurposed. Dear Pastor Neal, the Glorious Light Church and the Board of Education of the City of Chicago are parties to that certain license agreement dated June 15, 2021, permitting use of the board's property located at 4351 South Drexel Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. The agreement expired on its own terms on July 25th, 2021, and Glorious Light Church has continued to occupy the property on a month-to-month basis. A default notice and demand for payment of the license fee as contemplated in Section 4 of the agreement was sent to you on January 31st, 2026, and repayment remains outstanding. The balance of the unpaid license fee due and owing to the board is now $42,000, including the license fee that is payable for April 2026. The Board of Education of the City of Chicago hereby terminates the license agreement, with termination to be effective at the close of business on April 30th, 2026, which give them at less than a month to get out of a school that they repurposed with their own resources and that our community used. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And please contact me at SM, write this email address down because I want y'all to email him. Y'all ready? smstults@cps.edu, or feel free to call him at 773-553-1285 with any questions. Respectfully yours, the same exact cat that's given us problem over at the Turn Center and has been pretty disrespectful as it relates to the second school that the chairman of the Greater Bronzeville Community Action Council repurposed. Aren't we excited that community comes in and take over these buildings that they emptied out, and then we repurpose it and let people come in there? Same exact issue, Stephen Stults, Director of Real Estate. What a shame. I'll read to you now the letter that came from TCC. April 4th, 2026. Dear friends, partners, and supporters, I am writing to inform you that due to circumstances beyond our control, the Timothy Community Corporation, TCC, will no longer be able to operate within our current facility at the former Price School. This development is deeply disappointing, particularly as we were not afforded the opportunity to fully realize our longstanding vision of transforming the site into a community incubator and housing development. This vision was built through years of dedicated planning, strategic partnerships, and collaborative efforts aimed at strengthening and serving our community. We are also concerned by the limited time frame provided for vacating the premises. At present, TCC's operations at this location must conclude by the end of April. This accelerated transition presents significant operational challenges for our organization, staff, and the individuals and families that we serve, including the fact that the Greater Bronzeville Community Action Council hosts many of our meetings at that particular repurposed school that CPS did not help to repurpose, but we thank them for letting us use the empty buildings that are doing nothing. Despite these challenges, our commitment to the community remains unwavering. We are actively engaging with partners and stakeholders to identify alternative pathways that will allow us to continue delivering impactful programs and services. During this time of transition, we respectfully ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as our leadership team and board of directors work diligently to determine the most effective way forward. Thank you for your ongoing partnership and dedication to our shared mission. Sincerely, Michael Neal, Chief Executive Officer of Timothy Community Corporation. Can y'all clap that they didn't write and cuss them out? Clap your hands for them. Now, this is why our communities need to be organized. Because unfortunately, a lot of times, even when you're doing good in the hood, you run into bad downtown. And I want to be abundantly clear. The theme and the mantra of the Greater Bronzeville Community Action Council, along with our partnership, is nothing about us without us. Can you look at somebody better looking than you are, even if they're chewing? And just tell that neighbor, say, neighbor, nothing about us without us. Clap your hands if you agree with that. So what is our next step? We are going to the board meeting. Every one of them, until this gets resolved. We're also going to do what we can to handle this politically correct. We got to hold downtown accountable. We have a hard time doing the work that we do. And we shouldn't allow these kinds of things to happen and impact our community, because it's not just the church that repurposed it. It's not just the community center that got repurposed and all of the things. They serve our community. They serve our children. And we need to, at some point, learn how to speak up for one another. And so I want to say to Pastor Neal and to Lady Neal, to Glorious Light Church and to TCC, we'll see how much backing you have. Watch this. We all got your back. Clap if you agree with that. We got your back. We're going to stand with you. We're going to roll with you. And we do expect every one of our political leaders, every one of our faith leaders, every one of our community-based organizations, all of the folks that are stakeholders, including residents, to stand with people who stood for us. And we want to say thank you, and we're grateful. This is how we open our meeting. Clap your hands for Lucretia Kindred as she comes.
Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to see each and every one of you here again with us, again, yet another month. Give yourselves a round of applause for showing up on today. I want to officially welcome you to the Greater Bronzeville Neighborhood Network, Greater Bronzeville Community Action Council, Bright Star Community Outreach, Community-Based Organization Breakfast. I hope you got all that. Did you get it all? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about what that means. We want you to understand why you are here today. Some of you, how many first-timers this year? This is your first meeting? Okay, let's give them a round of applause. This is amazing. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So the Greater Bronzeville Neighborhood Network is a community-wide initiative. Our sole purpose is to come together as a collaborative for greater impact. We have come together in this manner over the last 3 months, I will say. This is our third time doing this in this larger capacity. And really that is for the purpose of making sure that we all together have access to resources, that we all are making sure that our social and emotional well-being is in place, as well as give opportunities for organizations that need it to have capacity building workshops. We also want to just make sure that our businesses and our entrepreneurs in the community are strengthened, okay? How many people want to see Bronzeville and the city of Chicago thrive? Next slide, please. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we have a little bit of alphabet soup, right? And so we're going to have a lot of presenters today that are going to come up here, and they may say some acronyms, and I want to help everybody out and make sure that you know exactly what we are doing and what we're talking about as we are speaking, because when you get into the work, it's easy for you to start using acronyms really quickly, and we don't want to leave anyone out. So let's take a look. When you hear someone say CAC, what does that mean? All right, y'all helping me. What about PACs? Oh, yes. All right. What about LSC? Who is that? All right. What about CBO? Oh, yes. GBNN. GBCAP. Yes, GBCAC. BSCO. All right. I like this energy. We're going somewhere with this. BSCDC. All right, and that's only a portion of our alphabet soup. This list continues to grow every time we meet. I'm like, oh my goodness, I gotta add another one. Okay, so we will make sure that each meeting, that we make sure everyone knows what we're talking about as we go along. Next slide, please. So, as I mentioned, this is a large network that is coming together for greater impact, right? And we want to make sure that we are not only collaborative, but that we are responding. We just saw this in action a moment ago. Something has happened, and we are collectively coming together to respond. This is what this is all about. But we want to make sure that we are bringing together a group that is truly representative of our community needs. Next slide, please. So we have put together what we call the stakeholders group. And what you see on the screen is a wheel that displays each and every member that is important for us to have as a part of this group. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a roll call here. All right, next slide. If you represent any of these groups, I want you to make some noise. We talked about what each one of these mean, and we will be able to share this information with you. But if you represent any of these groups, I want you to clap your hands and make some noise. And even if those groups are not here, I want you to clap for them coming, because we know that they may not have been able to be here today, but they are an important part of what we are doing. So here we go. Youth Advisory Council. Let's make some noise for those individuals. Next slide, please. Parent Advisory Council. Next slide. We're going to go pretty quickly here. Local school council members, if you're in the building, make some noise. Next slide, please. Anybody love data, metrics, evaluation? Listen, everybody loves data because you love money, and you can't get money without metrics and data. So again, anybody love data in the room? All right, next slide, please. Social service agencies, make some noise. Next slide, please. Healthcare institutions. All right. Okay, next slide, please. Sister agencies. These are our partner agencies, CAPS. Anyone here? Okay, next slide. Community-based organizations, make some noise. Bright Star, you're in the building, make some noise. All right, next slide, please. Faith-based organizations. Where are my faith leaders? Awesome. Next slide, please. The business community. Oh, y'all gotta make some noise. These are the people with the deep pockets. Look around the room. You make some friends there. Go ahead. Foundations. Any foundations in the room? Okay, awesome. Next slide. Elected officials. Yes. It's all right. We love them too. Next slide. Any legal aid firms, attorneys, lawyers in the room today? That's all right. We have some that are a part of this group. They probably couldn't be here today, but we're thankful for them. Community organizers and activists. This is everybody in this room. All right, next slide, please. Education leaders and experts, where are you? Yes, next slide, please. Housing, real estate agents. Yes, love that, love that. All right, next slide. All right, so that is the gist of our stakeholder groups, right? And so we want to make sure that you take this opportunity when we come together to not just eat all the good food. Everybody enjoying the bacon and chicken sausage? It's good, because I haven't gotten any yet, all right? But that's not the only purpose. We want you to network, and we want to get you to get to know other people that are in this room that you normally may not get an opportunity to work with. Never let an opportunity like this go to waste. So make sure that you make friends and make new friends, introduce yourself, okay? Everybody that is a part of the Greater Bronzeville Neighborhood Network has to sign a partnership agreement. So many of you that have been present with us over the last couple of meetings, scan the QR code and have submitted your request. If you have not, there's still time, okay? Next slide. We want to make sure that you understand your responsibilities being a part of this large collaborative. So you have to come to the meetings. If you don't come to the meetings, you won't be informed, you won't know what's going on. So make sure that you make this a priority. You have the opportunity to participate in a subcommittee. We want you to be a part of the planning process, right? We are doing a lot of things, and we want it to be as strategic as possible. We are thankful for our United Way partners. We had them come and speak with us, and they kicked it off with an opportunity for us to have resources that can be shared within this collaborative. So let's give a round of applause for the partners who want to invest in the work that we're doing. Next slide. All right, so as we move throughout this meeting, my one request is that you continue to be engaged and that you give the speakers your undivided attention and listen with the intent to act. Not just listen for the purpose of listening, but listen for the intention of actually doing something. How many people want to do something? Okay. All right, so I've taken up enough time. I'm going to turn it back over to Pastor Harris. And again, you'll see me next month because I know the acronyms are coming. Okay, so I'll be back.
Come on, clap your hands for Lucretia, everybody. As we move this agenda, we will always start on time and end on time. And we also encourage all of you all. Christian, are we live yet? We were able to do it? Okay, so we're recording it. We're going to bring it up to the website, and then you'll be able to have that to share it with other folks before the end of the day. I want you to understand that every single time that you come in, we're going to maximize the time. And this is really what it's all about. And all of you all, this is important, and I want our political leaders to get the opportunity to know who's in the audience, because we are so grateful. Aren't we grateful that all of our panelists and political leaders showed up today to talk to us? Can y'all, come on, clap your hands for them. They'll be coming shortly. But all of them have crazy busy schedules, wipe their schedules out to come and be with us here today. And I'm glad that you'll be able to hear. But it's important that they know who's in the room. All of you all that are in this room that are senior leaders of the schools, the businesses, the community-based organizations, chairs of the LSCs, all of the senior leaders, please raise your hand. So what you have in this room to all of our leaders are shepherds. And all of the folks that are in this room shepherd large and mid-sized, some small organizations. And we have decided to come together every single month as a collaborative to make sure that we come together because we believe that we are better together. And what you'll get ready to see in the next moment, those of y'all that are on the scene and those that are on the screen, you got to understand that this is work that has been happening now for the last 16 years. The Community Action Council of Greater Bronzeville has been around for 16 years now. I'm going to ask all of the executive committee members of the EC of Greater Bronzeville, please stand. Would y'all clap for these leaders who shepherd all of this work right along with us? Thank you all so very much. Some of them are not on the scene, but they're watching on the screen, and we're grateful for every one of them. And so we're going to just give you a quick preview for the next 7 minutes of what we have been working on. And this brother has been a part of the research area of all we've done and put together a quick mason, just a snapshot for you to see what we've done. Clap your hands for Miles Franklin as he comes.
All right, good morning, everyone. It is an honor to be here. I just want to preface this presentation by saying that this needs to be a book, right? So I'm gonna condense a lot of history into a very short amount of time and try to convey some of the work that we are doing, but please know that this room is filled with folks that have been doing this work. The history is in the room. So as you make connections in this room, dig a little deeper into ways that folks have contributed to what you're about to see. Go to the next slide. So this is our greater Bronzeville footprint. This is the area that the GBNN serves, that the GBCAC serves, right? There are 43 schools in this area, 27 elementary schools, 16 high schools, and a plethora of incredible community-based organizations. Everything that I share with you today comes out of an asset-based framework, which means that everything that happens in this community footprint is defined by us, not defined by how the media talks about this area, about how people who are from outside of our communities with agenda try to determine what happens in our communities. All this work that I'm about to speak to has been community-led. There's a lot happening in this footprint right now. On my way here, I passed Northwestern's, I don't know how many $1 million investment on College Grove, right? We all know that the Obama Foundation is building their library, right? And they're about to open their doors on Juneteenth. And we're gonna see, there's a lot, I wish we could get into all of that, but we're gonna see what that looks like, right, when they open their doors and how they actually interact with community. And that's more work for community to lead. We can go to the next slide. So 16 years, I can't emphasize that enough, right? A lot of organizations, a lot of projects, a lot of initiatives don't make it 5, don't make it 10, don't make it 15. So 16 years of work supporting community is absolutely incredible. The ways that we've been doing this work from the beginning, Principals Breakfast, creating an oasis, a space for our principals who are juggling a million different responsibilities and obligations to connect, to be celebrated, to celebrate wins, to strategize. Area regional analysis. When CPS puts out reports about what's happening in our communities, the GBCAC has served as a space for people to process data, for residents to understand, for all of those reporting, all that reporting language to be brought down to community language, right? So that we can have coherent conversations amongst ourselves about how we carry things forward. And so stakeholders like the ones in this room can prepare to act. Community dialogue meetings are a big part of that. Parent University, I'll speak to shortly in a second. Fighting for our schools. Walter H. Dyatt High School is open now because of work that people in community did. Right, they announced that they were gonna close 44 schools across the south and west sides. There was resistance to that. There was fighting to that. There was organizing that happened around that. So naming that and the bodies like the CAC that were a part of that is incredibly important. And then supporting our young people as they get ready to go back to school. This is just a short list of a lot of the incredible work that's done through the CAC. We can go to the next slide. A pillar of that work has been the Bronzeville Community Action Plan. So this was born out of a partnership between Bright Star, the Greater Bronzeville Community Action Council. The University of Chicago provided some technical assistance and some work to kind of help lay the foundation for an evidence base for this work. But as I mentioned, this work has remained community-led. Over 70 partners came together to make this a possibility. And what it allowed us to do was it allowed us to walk and chew gum, right? It allowed us to address the issues that we're facing day to day, the crises that come up in our communities due to structural racism, due to structural violence. But in addition to addressing those issues that come up on a day to day, it allowed us to plan ahead, to look forward and encourage our young people to be forward thinking about their futures and about the futures of the community. What this was built on was addressing the root causes of violence. So again, not the ideas about why violence happens that are pushed on from people that are not in the communities where it's happening, but understanding what are the structural issues that we really need to address violence. Some of those included high quality programs for youth and families, supporting schools and school leaders, so education equity, trauma-informed care, and employment placement services for residents. So giving the people the resources to pull them up to where they want to be, not prescribing, right, but allowing this really to be community-led, including residents and stakeholders. We can go to the next slide. So in addition to administrative data pulled from, we can go back one, pulled from CPS, pulled from the Chicago Police Department, we also collected data from within our communities. We did 3 rounds of data to support this work, data collection to support this work. Data collection that would have been impossible without those community connections that I've been talking to, right? In 2015, 2018, and 2021, in each of those rounds of data collections, we talked to 400 adult residents of Bronzeville. Individual interviews. Y'all know y'all neighbors. Y'all know your neighbors after COVID. We went knocking on doors and got 400 people to sit with us and talk to us about what's happening in their community, the ways they feel connected to their neighbors, the resources that they're aware of, what they need, what their young people are experiencing. So we talked to 400 residents in each of those rounds. In each of those rounds, we also did interviews or surveys with 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th graders at over 20 schools in that Bronzeville footprint. We also spoke to key stakeholders and residents, so to try and triangulate a true community perspective on what was happening and what continues to happen in our communities. So that allowed us to create not only the Bronzeville Action Plan, but also our Greater Bronzeville Resource Guide, right? A one-stop shop that's separated by category. So if you need housing resources, you open this guide or pull it up on your computer and you find those resources that are in your neighborhood, how active they are, what their waiting list is looking like, who they serve, what you need to bring in order to actually receive services, making that all streamlined and possible for anybody who picks up that resource. We've continued to iterate on that, and I'll speak a little bit more about how we're continuing to refresh both the action plan and the resource guide. But a part of what each of those is built on is community connection, peer relationships, so allowing young people to support each other, protect each other, guide each other, positive childhood experiences, community opportunities for recognition, and job training and workforce development. We can go to the next slide. So what those documents allowed us to do and some of the activities that came to life as a result of the action plan are Parent University. CPS had a parent university, has a parent university, right? But what we found as we've done this work is there are not enough spaces for parents, principals, stakeholders, faith leaders, healthcare providers to talk. Anytime we've had group discussions with any of those groups, we run in over time because they have too much to share. They have a wealth of knowledge and they have had these experiences that inform how community work should be done. So in addition to CPS's Parent University, we created an additional Parent University driven by input on parents on the type of workshops that they wanted to see. Things like managing anxiety that comes with living in this world that we're living in. Financial wellness, right? Not just you need to save and not spend, but what does it look like to create a plan for your entire family, right? What does it look like to create a plan for after you've gone to make sure your family is good? Really digging into the issues as they apply to us. And then, of course, in these spaces, always providing resources, both things for professional and personal development, and then giving away what people need most. Laptops, tablets, coats and clothing in the winter, groceries, all of those things that deserts are created in our community and we create for ourselves. Got you. We can go to the next slide, please. This also allowed us to respond to COVID-19 and everything that was happening in 2020 in an incredibly rich way. When schools and our communities, our residents needed masks, proper protective equipment, the CAC and the relationships that were built there were able to organize to make that happen. Next slide. Protective face masks, laptops, and tech. A lot of young people in our community had to move immediately to remote learning. The only way to do that was to distribute laptops, take surveys, and understand who had access to Wi-Fi, who didn't, make all of those things available. That's happening through the CAC. Supporting food pantries, that's happening through the CAC. Dispelling misinformation about COVID, that's happening through the CAC. Next slide. At that same time, talk about walking, chewing, more than walking and chewing gum, walking, eating, and leaving no crumbs. At the same time, we're experiencing the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. We're organizing a response to that, right? So at the same time that we're battling COVID, we're organizing safely and showing how these protests can be peaceful while still pushing the agenda that community needs. Next slide. We recognize our students, those that are overcoming the structural barriers and that we're encouraging to show up to school. So we're celebrating our valedictorians, salutatorians, most improved, and our best attended students, right? Rewarding them for the ways that they are resilient and resistant. Next slide. And there's a few things that we're working on. I wish I could get into CRR 19. We're installing permanent public art in this community based on the CAC's work, right? And when Pastor Harris was speaking earlier, I thought about how I was gonna point out all of the things that I just named that happened at Price, right? The organizing for the CR19 project happened at Price. The focus groups to get feedback from teachers, principals, behavioral health teams happened at Price, but another time. Next slide. The results. So in that same period, 2020 and 2021, what this data shows is the rates of aggravated assault, robberies, homicides, and shootings before and after the introduction of the Community Action Plan. After the Community Action Plan is introduced, 17% drop in shootings, 12% drop in robberies, 10% drop in aggravated assaults, all directly attributable to at a statistically significant level the work of the Community Action Plan, right? So this work works. Next slide. Where are we moving to? We're continuing to update the Community Action Plan and our resource guide. We're doing that by collecting feedback from those different stakeholder groups. Those of you who have been at the last couple of community breakfasts have seen how we are continuing to refine what each of those stakeholder groups looks like, and we'll be reaching out to get feedback from each of those unique perspectives going forward. Some things we've heard already from principals and teachers: they have limited time, limited resources, limited support. Teachers and principals face significant challenge with outdated and poorly managed facilities. They feel disconnected from district-level support and decision-making. Next slide. Some things we heard from our behavioral health teams: that key leadership at the top is very important. Collaboration with parents is very important. They would like to see schools that are healthy environments where young people are happy to show up to schools. Next slide. Community-based organizations feel they're stretched to go beyond their mission, right? That mission creep is real. They're trying to strategically align with schools and other organizations, but the pathways to do so are unclear. So all of that clarification, all of the work to support those additional resources is happening in this space. So we're gonna see your feedback up on this screen in the next couple of months, and we're gonna see in 2028, 2029, and 2030, those same significant drops in violent crime due to our work. So that's what's happening here, and that's what's happening with the Greater Bronzeville Community Action Plan. Thank you.
You know, as a preacher on Sunday, it's hard to take a sermon and dwindle it down to 45 minutes. This cat just took 14 years and put it in 7 to 8 minutes. Clap your hands for Miles. That's our man, 50 grand right there. Can I get a church nurse to get him some water? I know how thirsty I am after I preach. So, man, thank you. What a wonderful job. And we are grateful for the partnership. And you got to understand, for research to be Black-owned, Black-driven, and Black-led, because we always say you shouldn't ask for dollars without data, you shouldn't seek money without metrics, and you shouldn't try to expand without evaluation. And so we're making sure that we're doing this in a way where no funders will be able to tell us, show us why we need to write the check. Not only did he share with you what we've done, but here's the good news for 20 more people that'll clap again. We are now published through the peer review, and it is now all across the country. Come on now. All your work, all of our work is now a model that we will get a chance to replicate. And I'm so excited about our next speaker, and she's going to present to us. And then after that, our panelists come, and I'm super pumped up about this next time that we have before we leave here, because as you all know, there is an election coming up for the first ever 21-member Chicago school elected board. And you know a lot of things were happening. I won't steal the thunder and allow her to present to us, but I need you to understand it's important and incumbent upon us to make sure that we are ready for whatever is getting ready to come. We need to make sure that we not only seek to hold school board members accountable, but we also need to hold them up. And we need to partner with them and say, hey, what can we do to support you? We should not only, and absolutely we should, hold all of our political leaders accountable, but we shouldn't just hold them accountable. We should allow them to hold us accountable and say, hey, what are you doing to help me to fulfill the vision that we all have for our community? Why? Because we are better together. If you agree with that, clap your hands. So please keep those hands clapping for the young lady that's coming to tell us how school boards work and how we gonna vote in the right type of way. Clap for Bridget Lee as she comes. Come on.
All right, good morning, y'all. I'm gonna set my timer because I was told I got 20 minutes. We're gonna make it fast. Thank you all for having me. Thank you, Pastor Harris, for having me back. I don't know if you saw a few slides ago in the other presentation, my picture was up there because I actually came to the CAC back in 2024 when we were about to move into the first elections where we elected 10 school board members, and I was able to share a little bit about how the board worked. So I'm Bridget. I am originally from Indiana. I've been in Chicago 12 years, and I'm the founding ED of Academy for Local Leadership, which towards the end I'll tell you a little bit about what we do. But I wanted to share that I started it because around 2023, folks started to talk about, okay, the school board is gonna happen in 2024. It's gonna be 21 people, which is wild. That's so many people. And a lot of folks were like, okay, we're gonna wait and see what happens. We're gonna wait and see if this is messy. We're gonna wait and see if this works. And I'm not a wait and see person, right? Because we need this school board to work. Because if the school board is working, then that means our kids are most likely to get what they need. And so I didn't want to wait and see, and so that's why I started this work. So we're gonna go ahead and jump in. Yep, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so I know that last month I think board members were here. This month you've got board members here. Yes, that's the work, that's the work. And so I want to take a quick poll, and I want you to give me a fist of 5. Fist means I know nothing. 5 means, oh, I could join the school board tomorrow and be set. How much do you feel like you know about how the school board works? Fist of 5. Okay, I see some 5s. All right, I see some 0s, some 2s. Okay, we'll do that same check-in at the end. And if you were a 0, hopefully you're not anymore. And if you were a 5, we should talk because I wonder if you learned something that you didn't know. We'll see. Okay, so, oh no, my slides are a little off color. Can people see those okay? Okay, all right. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. Oh man, I don't know what happened. Okay, we'll just talk through it. Okay, we'll email them out. So for a long, long time, the mayor appointed the school board, which means that it was really one election who determined who sat on the school board, right? The election of the mayor. And in 2021, that changed. There was a lot of advocacy. There was a lot of community organizing. Is everybody okay? Okay, I think we need some help over here. Okay. All right, y'all. We'll jump back in. Okay, so we are in a transition moment right now where we currently have 21 total board members, so we're already at the 21, right? And 10 of those folks were elected back in November 2024, and then 11 were appointed by the mayor, including the president, right? Some of those folks who have 5s up are like, I know this, get to the point. Okay, we're gonna keep it moving. And so how that worked is there are 20 different school board districts that the city has been divided into. And for the first election, districts that were nearby, they grouped them up. So instead of 1 through 20, we have 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. And so if someone from 1A won their election, that means that someone from 1B was appointed. So right now, whatever district you're in, you have 2 representatives. One of them was elected and one of them was appointed. Okay, so when the full transition happens, everybody is up for election this November, all 21. November 3rd, it's on the ballot, don't skip it. And this includes the president. And this is pretty unique because most school boards, you get elected to the board and then they pick a president from the people who got elected. No, we are voting for the president. So it is super important that we understand how this works because that is the person who's gonna be governing, right, in charge of the body that's governing the whole district. And we're gonna get to vote for them. So today's goals, we have 3 goals that we're gonna get into.
The first is I want you guys to understand that the board has specific legal powers, and once you know them, you can't unknow them. So you'll be able to see, okay, are they doing the thing that they're legally supposed to be doing? Yes or no, right? The other thing I want you to walk away with is an elected board is necessary, right? It's necessary for representation, it's necessary for community voice, but it's not necessarily sufficient in itself. It doesn't mean that now that the board's elected, you know, the district is just gonna work magically and perfectly. So we have to make sure we're building our own capacity and we're building the capacity of those leaders who wanna serve to really be able to do this well. And then the last thing is I'm gonna give you some things that you can do before elections and after elections to help be a partner to the board and to help hold the board accountable. All right, you can go to the next slide. Yep, we did that one. Oh, this is better, good, okay. So what does the board actually do? At the end of the day, the board is responsible for making sure our kids are succeeding. Whatever that means to them, to their families, to you as a community. They are in charge of making sure our kids succeed. And everything else comes secondary to that, right? And so what's best practice for a board or really any team, I'm sure y'all have done this at work when you're setting goals for yourself, but you want the board to set some goals, set out some things that they want to accomplish. And it shouldn't be everything because they can't get 500 things done in just a 2 or 4 year term. But if they can identify a set of goals, a set of things that they want to be true for young people at the end of their term, that's where you want to start. And those should be grounded in what the community defines as success for the young people in their neighborhoods. And then the second thing is the board hires and evaluates the superintendent. That's technically their only employee, right? Because everybody else then reports up to the superintendent. And so their job is to hire that person carefully, right, which we just finished that process, and to evaluate them and make sure they're doing what they need to be doing so that our students are learning. And this, I want to make sure I say this because this is where a lot of people get tripped up. The board does not fix problems. It makes sure the person whose job it is to fix those problems does it. And it holds them accountable if they do not. So the board does not itself fix problems. The board isn't going around fixing roofs, right? The board shouldn't really even be calling the school and telling them about fixing their roof. The board's role is to make sure the person who is supposed to fix that thing is doing that, okay? They also approve and pass the budget. And what I say, I know my data folks out here, what I say about budgets is it's just the numerical reflection of your values. If you say what you value and then you say something else in the budget, what's in the budget is what you value, right? So the board is responsible for passing a budget that reflects those values and those goals for kids. And then lastly, the board is responsible for, like I said at the beginning, monitoring if our kids are learning. This is a $10.5 billion situation. And so I think we need to be asking for $10.5 billion, are our kids reading? Are they graduating on time? Are they able to go to career or college, right? We need the board members to be holding the system accountable for that. And then this is a fun fact. So legally, board members as individuals have no power. They don't get to say, oh, I'm 10B, so this is what we're gonna do for 10B. Their decisions are for the entire district. Their decisions are as a board, right? And so what I tell folks is, this is democracy, you should disagree. You're not always gonna agree. You should listen to your community. You should bring what they say into the boardroom. And then you guys are gonna vote, and you may not agree with how the vote went down, but what you don't wanna do is then go kind of like undermine that, right? So the board is really one body when they make a decision. And now I wanna name some of the things, you can go to the next slide, some of the things I said, or some of the experiences you've had, there may be some frustration. Is there one slide before this? Oh, no, okay. I might be missing my, wait, go one more after this. Oh, yeah, this one, okay. We'll skip ahead to this one. So why this might feel frustrating is because when we have different expectations for what the board is responsible for, right? We're expecting them to fix the roof. We're expecting them to clean up the park. That can be really frustrating. And so our goal here is really to understand what they're responsible for. And so one of the things here, oh man, I wish I could see this. I think this is the school safety one. So one of the confusions is like, what does the board actually get to decide versus the principal or versus the LSC? You want to be clear on that, right? One of the examples where this tension arose, I don't know, I'm sure y'all remember this because it impacted your community, but the school resource officers, right? There was a lot of questions about, is that a local LSC decision or is that a district-wide board level decision? That's an important question. That's the tension that's held there, right? The other thing is when we aren't clear on our expectations, we end up spending limited time talking about the most important folks in this system, which is young people, right? So if you watch board meetings and you're feeling like, man, I didn't take away from this anything about how our students are doing, that's something to note, right? One of the folks we come in, one of the experts that we have come in to talk to our class gives this example of a real school board that he worked with that spent multiple meetings arguing about the color of the school buses. Does the color of the school bus impact if the kid's gonna get there on time? No. So that's not really something, there are a lot of other things, right, that school board could be talking about. So it's important to be mindful of things like that as well. And to call out if you're like, hey, we need to spend more time talking about how our young people are doing. That's an expectation. And then the last one here is unclear ways to engage. So the example I like to bring up here is public comment, because public comment can be really frustrating for folks. If you watch it, you see people come in and they share something going on that should not be going on. And 9 times out of 10, they're absolutely right. And also, a lot of times those things aren't any of those things that I said the board does, right? And so there's a frustration that happens there. And so I'll bring that up again where it's not the board's role to solve every problem, but it is their role to make sure the person whose job that is doing that, right? So that's where that power sits. Okay, we'll keep it going. Here, okay. So what all this means for you, I think if you can go to the next slide. There are some things that you can do before the election. So one is understanding what the board controls so that you can hold them accountable, right? And remember that's hiring and evaluating the superintendent, that's passing a budget that aligns with the values. It's making sure our students are learning, right? And everything else kind of flows from that. The other thing, and this is what you all are already doing and really developing the blueprint around, is making sure it's clear what your priorities are as a community. If you come to the board meeting with clear priorities that are reflective of everybody in this room, right, you're more likely to get traction on that. Y'all know that. It's coalition building, it's organizing. So the clearer you are, the more effective you're gonna be. And your board members want you to come with that clarity. They wanna know what's important to you. And then they can bring that into the boardroom. And then the other thing is when folks come knocking on your door, because they gotta run, think about the questions that you wanna ask. Now that you know what you know, you might wanna ask them different questions. You may not wanna ask, hey, what's going on with the bathroom at this school, right? But you might wanna ask, how are you going to handle this at a systems level? What do you think about what's going on with facilities at the systems level and what's the plan for that, right? So just that difference alone is gonna make your advocacy more effective. And then after elections, so once everybody is seated, in the first 3 to 6 months, let's ask ourselves, is it clear what this board is about? Have they said, these are our priorities, these are our goals? And if they do, where did those priorities and goals come from? Did they come to spaces like this? first, right? And pay attention to how meetings are run, right? Does anyone here watch board meetings? Okay, they're long. They could be long. Someone needs to do like a highlight reel. I don't know who's raising money for that, but board highlight reel. If you are someone who watches meetings, pay attention to what they're talking about. Are they talking about the color of the school buses? If they are, call your board member and be like, we don't care about the color of the school bus, right? We want to know about literacy. We want to know about arts, right? And then lastly, like I said, show up with clarity. So if it's public comment and y'all are coming through to advocate for something or share something, be really clear, because the communities that are gonna have the most influence on the school board are gonna come with specific asks that are tied to your goals as a community. So I'll close with this. The most powerful communities aren't the loudest, they're the clearest about what they expect. And so that's the goal today, for you to leave this room a little bit clearer. And so I'll wrap with my final slide, if you want to. Oh, yeah, this is it. So this is what my organization does. We are trying to build the infrastructure to make this system work, right? And we think about that as we need prepared leaders. So we work with aspiring school board members. We work with current school board members to help them understand the role. We believe in informed communities. The more you all know, the better you can partner with them and hold them accountable. So we do community trainings. If you want to go deep into this, let me know. I'll give you a card. And then the last thing that we do is when we talk about good governance or we talk about an effective school board, we have to define that, right? We have to understand what do we mean when we say that and what's our shared definition of that. And so I think on the last slide, there's a QR code. If you are interested in learning more, you also have my email here. It's cut off, but it's bridget@localleadership.org. Yeah, that's what I got. Oh, okay.
One more time, everybody. Clap it up for Bridget Lee. Christian, I'm going to go to my slides, and as we get ready to bring our panel up, I just want to share with you all the information that was just shared, and Bridget is going to join us on the panel with all of our leaders that are here today, and I'm super excited about this second half. Can I first of all just take a moment and ask you all, please, clap it up for the folks who immediately responded to the young lady falling out. Thank y'all so very much. And thank all of you all on that side. This is the complete medical side of the building. Everybody became a doctor and a nurse, but more than that, all of us were concerned. So thank you. This is really what community is all about. Clap your hands. Amen. Thank you. All right, so as we've been sharing with you all and the work that we've been doing, to be very clear, this is our third monthly meeting like this, in this way, where we created the Community Partners Breakfast, where we have all of the senior leaders that come to be with us. But I want to be very clear, this work, again, has been happening for the past 14 years, and it's been really, really exciting. 16 years that we've been doing this work. I'm the founding chair, and I'm still the chair even now. Sometimes I feel like more than a chair, a couch or something like that, but I got the bishop there with me and all of us that are working together to do this work. And so now, because this is now research-based, because we have all of the data and the impact, because we did research in 2015, it was pretty amazing. We literally not broke the mold, we created a new model. And we were able to, with 2,500 students eligible in our catchment area, in the greater Bronzeville area, in 2015, we surveyed, watch this is pretty important, and with a 127-question anonymous youth survey, we surveyed eligible 2,500 students. And out of the 2,500 students, we went through the IRB and the RRB process, and we said we wanted black and brown proctors to lead this work for us, because typically when you see academia, when you see research, when you see medicine, it's a bunch of white people studying black people. And then they all get that data that they collected. They got millions of dollars to do a bunch of research, and then a bunch of white people sit at a table with each other and talk about black people and brown people. Nothing about us without us. And since the days of Tuskegee, we don't play that research thing because we don't trust it. And so I said it needs to be owned by us and driven by us and led by us, but not just us, because we want everybody at the table. And so we were able to get, for 10 of y'all that are really, really not hate but celebrate and clap, we were able to get a 72% response rate from all of those students. That's what we did when we were doing the research, you all, in 2015. And then because we wanted to be a cyclical process, we did it again in 2018. And I want to thank, because she's here and she helped us, I want to thank one of the greatest aldermen in our city, Alderman Pat Dow. Come on, I need y'all to do better than that. Who has been our greatest, most faithful, consistent, real CAC member from day one, who helped us to do this work in the schools. And we got that feedback. And the second time that we did it in 2018, it went from a 72% response rate to an 81% response rate. And then we went across, as was alluded to earlier, we went across 20 census tracts and talked to their parents and their grandparents. And they gave us their feedback. So everything that you're looking at is based on what the community has said. And so now that we've proven out the model, now it's time to replicate. Next slide, please. So what I'm doing is now, with your permission, with the permission of the Community Action Council, I'm super excited about this, because not only in this room do you have the Greater Bronzeville Community Action Council members, you also have other CAC leaders from other areas. Will all of you all please stand that represent other Community Action Councils? Bronzeville, go crazy for these folks. Come on now. Some of them were here last month. Many of them were here in our February meeting, and we are now collaborating together to say, how do we collaborate and replicate in a systematic way? So when you take a look at what you see on the screen now, as you know, that there are 630 CPS schools, and it represents more than, or almost close to, 320,000. Now, to be very clear, the Greater Bronzeville CAC and every other CAC, we believe that we should not just represent CPS schools. It's all schools. How dare we tell charter babies you don't belong to us? Y'all ain't clapping. Wait. When you get the mic, we cover faith-based schools, all schools, especially our early learners, especially early childhood development. So we represent as CACs all schools. And so you have 10 different districts, and you have 21 board members. Next slide, please. So for the next 6 months, I'm challenging us, because you've asked me to lead. We've taken the time to put the model together. We've got roles, responsibilities, and job descriptions based on your years of feedback. And now, from May all the way to November, we have work to do. We don't get to take the summer off, because our children will be waiting on us to have vision established by the time they come back to school. So we're going to meet all summer. And our goal is to make sure that we have the right kind of infrastructure so that we can go away from just voting for people because they are an incumbent, away from voting for people just because of name recognition, away from voting for people just because we like them. We have to establish report cards to say, hey, you got in the seat, now you're going to cast a vote, but the question is, does it represent our voice? I don't say this just as a CAC chair and as a pastor and as a CEO of 2 companies. No, I say this as a grandfather of 2 grandchildren that go to CPS. Thank God my 5 children are grown and gone. But I got another generation I have to worry about. And I didn't fly in. I didn't helicopter in here. My mother went to Phillips. My grandfather went to DuSable. My family came to Bronzeville through the Great Migration on the matriarch and patriotic side. And if we are not careful, Greater Bronzeville is going to go from being Bronzeville to Tanville to Off-Whiteville, then Whiteville. And we got work to do to make sure culture is sustained in this community. We have a responsibility to say to our children, you deserve better schools than the ones that you're learning in. But we as a community, we got to help our board members. And we also got to hold our board members accountable to make sure that they understand if the board members are fighting with the superintendent, then guess what? Here is what happens. When elephants fight, it's the grass that perish. You got these big people fighting in big places, but the little people are getting crushed every day. But then our political leaders and our board members are crying out saying, hey, community, can we get y'all to back us and support us? It has to be a two-way street. And so with these CACs, we want to get rid of all the fragmentation. Go to the next slide. And so as we begin to do this work and fill the gaps and make sure that we have organizations like LSCs, CBOs, faith-based institutions, health partners, business leaders, employers, all of that good stuff, we need to make sure that we collaborate. One band, one sound. Next slide. And as we do this replication of this piece, based on our Greater Bronzeville Community Action Plan, here is where you all clap. If you look at the last two lines on this end, we had pre-COVID 70-plus community-based, faith-based, school-based, business-based partners. Now, we have more than 220 organizations. Come on, y'all, go crazy. This room is doing that. Somebody shout, we're better together. And so as a result of that, we're really, really excited about what we know that we want to do. And our pillars of violence prevention, trauma-informed care, education, and workforce development. And go to the next slide. Now that we've been peer-reviewed, we've been published, and we have the data, now they should be able to give us the dollars. Next slide. Look at this wheel. Does anybody know what this picture reminds you of? Raise your hand if you remember. Remember, that's right, that toy. Y'all remember the toy? It used to have a string, and you pull it, and it went around in the middle. How many of y'all had that toy before? How many of y'all that was 40 years ago? For me, that was 40 years ago. I'm 52 now. But we had that toy. But here is what my mother used to tell my oldest brother, who was at that time 20-something years old. She snatched the toy and said, that's for the kids. Can you imagine if we as a collaborative would snatch the district back and say it's for the kids, not the adults? It's for the students and not the adults. But it shouldn't just be for the students. We start there. Clap on this. It should be for the parents that are dependent on the schools to educate. Y'all ain't clapping no more. It should be for the principals and the teachers who should not be counselors. They shouldn't have to be mom and them. They shouldn't have to be paying out of their pocket to put clothes on the children. It should be about the children and everybody who cares about the children. And I'm so grateful that all of these stakeholder groups will always be a part of this model. Next slide. So you got these 10 districts, and then we're going to run through and talk about this more next month. And here's what we have done. Next slide. I'm super duper excited about the fact that we've put together a full model, and our goal is to replicate these CACs in a strong way across 10 districts. Next two slides. Skip over so I can go to the model. Move on. That's the structure. Bright Star Community Development Corporation, I've been going to philanthropic and business leaders and saying to them, you all need to help us raise money. Because if you all can raise millions of dollars to back whoever you want to be the school board member, what you're doing again is controlling our community and pushing a candidate down our throat to say, here's who's going to lead you. Not over here. And it shouldn't be nowhere. Because if they can raise money to push a candidate that they prefer, they ought to respect us enough to come to our community and say, is this the one you prefer? So it is my prayer that as we begin to replicate this model across the city, that we organize ourselves, that we collaborate, no division and no fighting. And go to the next slide. There will be a dashboard. Because as we try to raise $18 million over the next 3 years, a $6 million budget annually, the Community Action Council should be fully funded. I would like to thank, as I get ready to close and bring up our panel, I want to thank CPS for the $3,000 they give us. And then when we went down there and fussed a few years ago, they raised it to $6. And then we went and fussed again, they raised it to $10. We was really balling. And because some of the organizations were not structured enough and wasted the money, they took it back down to $3. Now, we can't fuss at them and not hold ourselves accountable. Because you can't ask them for $10,000 so you can give away nice little T-shirts. It's not what the money is for. Because we are wrong if we hold them accountable, don't hold ourselves accountable. So there will be a dashboard. Last slide, and we're moving on. We're trying to raise this money so that the Backbone organization can have $1 million, because you got to have staff to run stuff. And then the $2 million will go for operations, because the CAC chairs, secretaries, all of those folks, these should be jobs for people. I think it's a shame, and I don't know if y'all agree, but I do, and I got the mic, I'm going to say it. I think it's a shame we're asking board members to work 40 and 80 hours a week sometime for free. It's a full-time job that these folks are doing. And if we want them totally committed, then we got to give them the ability to do that. Same thing for the CACs. So as we bring you up to speed over the next few months, I'm super excited to tell you today that after all of this work, after all of this presentation, and thank you all for coming today, I proudly announce we got our first seed funder, anonymous, $1 million. I thought y'all would go crazy for that. Are y'all gonna sit on $1 million? You're welcome. I didn't say $10. I didn't say $100. Y'all go crazy for $1 million as seed funding. And it will start in the greater Bronzeville CAC. Our goal is to do an assessment of 2 more CACs that are ready, because there has to be a readiness assessment, so that we can fund them as well, so we can build the infrastructure, started as a pilot, and then fly this plane. Clap your hands for some of the greatest leaders in the world. Y'all stand on your feet. Alderman Pat Dowell is coming. I need y'all to make some noise. Alderman Jeanette Taylor is coming. Y'all make some noise. Come on. Commissioner Bill Lowry and our school board members. Come on. Shay Rhymefest. Y'all make some noise. And Jessica Biggs. Can y'all make some noise? Clap your hands as our panel comes. Bridget would join us. And based on your feedback, team, if y'all can take this table out the way. I'm so grateful that they all took time. Bill, you can come on this side. Okay, Bridget, you good? Okay, we got enough seats. So really, really excited about this conversation that we'll have today. And they all have questions that we have sent to them based on what all of you all have said. And I really, really just cannot thank you all enough. We are proud over here at Bronzeville, and so Greater Bronzeville, and specifically because we actually are blessed with people who we know have fought for schools, have truly fought for us and fought with us. And so I want to start with someone who I have a tremendous amount of respect for. We don't always agree. We never always agreed. But when I tell you one thing is for sure that nobody can argue about, she loves our city, loves our community, and will fight a bear about our community. Y'all clap your hands for Alderman Jeanette Taylor. Now, Alderman, you are the chair of the Committee on Education and Child Development, and you've done that previously. And what hearings and policy changes or cross-agency actions are you prioritizing, or the team, this year that could directly benefit organizations and schools and geographies like Greater Bronzeville?
So,
He got you.
okay. Making sure that Chicago Public Schools does something that it's never done, which is be honest with the community about where we stand educationally and financially. And so, I've been in office since 2019, and when I was first on the council, I was a member of the Education Committee, and for 4 years, we had 3 meetings. Wow. And so, in the next election, I was elected as chair that I didn't want, because I knew how hard it was going to be to change the mindset of how Chicago Public Schools operates, but also understanding who they truly are. We used to say CPS stands for closing public schools, because that's what they did. And so trying to make sure that we bring transparency to it and know that the city council has no power over Chicago Public Schools. And so talking about policy, yes, we do talk about policy. And so one of the policies actually put in is that we have these quarterly meetings, which CPS in the last administration refused to come talk to the city council at a hearing. And so changing that mindset of we're the same people who use TIF dollars to bail out schools, to get a roof, to get the things the schools need, should be accountable to taxpayers. And so that mindset, and also working with Springfield, I think a lot of people forget that there are other bodies of government that support CPS, but oftentimes don't work together. And so making sure that we work with the county and that we work with the state, and even though the federal government is not messing with us right now, hold them accountable and say we work together to make sure that we get educational outcomes that really mean something. Young people, we're graduating young people, but can they read? Can they write? Can they divide? Can they cursive writing? And we all know the answer is no, because we've honestly made education a political game, and young people are the ones who are actually losing. And so moving in a way that makes sense, that gets us to the table. And the hard work is we don't all agree. You said it earlier, and see, Pastor Harris, you started in trouble because I was gonna say the last time I was here, you put me out your church.
That's true. I'm just
I'm
glad you said it.
slide.
I'm glad you said it so my man can know it does happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You only getting a slide because you got some other pastors here. But I was just about to say, you ain't the only one from the project, from the west side. I ain't want to do that to you, but I'll let you have it.
Now y'all see why I love her.
Absolutely, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make a difference because the goal is always to make sure that young people get educated and these families get what we need. And so that's how we're working best.
It's just a beautiful thing because, y'all clap, come on. Because one of the things that you literally see is, you know, if you just really have conversation and put ego to the side and learn about each other, you will learn there's no need to fight each other when you can fight with one another. And so I'm grateful for where, let me just say, like I like to say, the Lord has allowed you to go, because it allows voices to be heard that normally wouldn't hear. Alderman Dow, you have been just honestly, I will never stop saying it, our greatest advocate and most faithful person as chair of finance. Can you share what city funding levers should this community understand better right now, especially in the state that we're in, such as TIF, capital dollars, bond proceeds, menu funds, other tools, and where do you see the greatest opportunity for school-related improvements?
All right, well, I think my colleague said it, and I think we have to level set that the city council does not control the budget of CPS. We don't control the capital side, and we don't control the operating side. We don't vote on the budget. Now, if we voted on the budget, I think that we could be held accountable or more accountable for the decisions that CPS makes. As CPS is moving to this totally elected school board system, you're gonna have to hold those members accountable for how your capital dollars and how your operating dollars are spent. What the city has done over the years is surplus TIF money, not just because we want to be altruistic and give CPS money for their operating system. We do it because the city's in a deficit, and CPS just happens to benefit greatly from the city's decisions to surplus TIFs. So that's one thing. CPS does not really have TIF dollars. The city of Chicago has TIF dollars. So you should watch when and if the city surpluses TIF. And once we surplus the TIF and that check goes from the county to CPS, we don't know how they spend it. We don't have a way of telling them how to spend it. The only reason we were able to have some say in how they spent the TIF dollars they surplused us because they owed us money for the pension, and we wanted to get our money back, and the only way we could get it was if we, am I right, Jessica? The only money, huh? Yes, the only way we can get our money back from them is if we surplus the TIF. Menu. CPS has nothing to do with menu. The menu dollars are all on the city side. Every alderman gets $1.2 million, $1.5 million a year to do streets, sidewalks, to resurface your alleys, to put up new light poles, to put up signs, whatever we think based on our constituent needs to be done in the wards. So that's not something you have to think about when it comes to CPS. What should be happening, however, is that if something is going on around a particular school that you are aware of, and that sidewalk is broke outside of the school or the lights don't work, then you need to talk to the alderman to make sure that they prioritize that improvement with their menu money. So that's how you all collaborate with the city. Bonds you mentioned. Bonds also are, CPS has the authority given to it by the state to issue their own bonds, which they do. And so the city of Chicago has no role over that as well. I would say that, Pastor, as we disentangle ourselves, meaning the city disentangles ourselves from CPS, that your focus of control, your accountability measures, your attention should be focused on the school board. And if there is a way to use your elected officials, whether they're federal, state, or local, to be an advocate with these guys, that's how you should use us.
And it's amazing because a lot of times people walk in to all of your office with the whole Jerry Maguire thing, show me the money, right? And we perish for the lack of knowledge. A lot of us don't really realize where resources are. And I think there's an opportunity for all of us that represent this particular community to come together in an organized way to say, how do we even go downstate and advocate? When it comes to voting on a national level, federal level, how do we raise our voices? Because, you know, as they used to say, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. But the county, we don't often hear about the county, Bill. And you're always active, have supported us. You started the It's Time organization, Tito, because of violence that was happening. And then you said, hey, PCH, I'm going to fold my organization into yours, help raise money. And then you became our commissioner that represents this area. What should we expect from the county? Because even if it's not in schools, what about the healthcare field? What about trauma counseling? What kind of resources can we say to the county? We're dependent on you to bring something to help not just the schools, but those who also provide the wraparound services.
Pastor, thank you so much for everything you do for all of us, everything you do for my family, and thank you for being a real brother. And I want to start off by saying that. I also want to acknowledge each of you. You know, I've said now for the 8 years I've been serving as your Cook County Commissioner, effective leadership is rooted in communication, collaboration, and action. And I mean that. And I think really what's so vital are the first two C's. Communication, which ain't just talking, it's listening. The same letters that spell listen spell silent. And then collaboration. And that's what today is about. Today is about the collaborative effort that has brought us to today. And it's about the collaboration that's going to take us to a boundless tomorrow. So I'm going to start with that. Let me say also, I had no idea who was going to be on this panel. But to show you, no, I did. But to show you how good people find one another, I work closely with everyone else that's seated up here. And that's a real blessing to me. Very quickly, it is our youth that got me to this space. And I was behind the scenes playing it safe for a long time. And then Hydea Pendleton was shot and killed 10 feet from my backyard. And my middle kid, Evan, said to me, "What are you going to do?" I said, "What am I going to do?" He said, "Well, you know some people. This violence is right here at our doorstep. What are you going to do?" So I told him the truth. I said, "I'm going to pray, and I'm going to talk to Mom," and I did both. And it was put on us to host a breakfast at our home. Had about 50 friends there, including the pastor. But we had all walks of life represented in our basement, including a dear friend of mine who was a former gangbanger. And after that, it was put on me to say it's time to stop hiding from behind safety glass and alarms, be seen for our youth, and that's why we started TITO, the It's Time organization, focusing on providing after-school opportunities for our youth, because we knew 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. was the most precarious time for our youth. So we partnered with Build, who had a footstep or a place on the west side for a long time, Pastor and a lot of other individuals, and we started having after-school programming at our area high schools for our youth. And the members of TITO then had summer intern programs for the students. I had 3 in my program. I was taking them the next day to see city council, to see Pat Dow and her colleagues. And one of the young men, Joseph, I noticed every day he had his shirt out. And as I looked at Joseph, I realized he had twine holding up his pants. So the next morning I said to my oldest, who was also with us that summer, and this was in my law firm, I said, "You got to get up because I got to get a belt for Joseph and for Khalil." So believe it or not, Billy got up. So we got the belts. I go to my firm and I gift Khalil one-on-one. Thank you, Mr. Lowry. I then gifted Joseph, a very quiet, serious young man, one-on-one. He smiled and cried at the same time as he took off the rope and put on his belt. And I said, "My God, I got to do more." And it was at that point I decided I would run for office. And then I didn't say to Pastor, I want to put TITO in Bright Star Community Outreach. I asked. And he said, "Brother, absolutely." So that is what led me to the space that I'm now in as your Cook County Commissioner of the 3rd District. I represent parts of 15 of the wards, including my sisters here, their wards. It's an all-Chicago district. I'm Vice Chair of Finance for Cook County Board of Commissioners. I'm Chair of Health and Hospitals for Cook County Board. And I'm Vice Chair of the Cook County Health Board of Directors. We're doing amazing work relative to both traditional and behavioral health care. Just near us at Provident last year, we opened a behavioral health care stabilization unit. I want to make sure you know that, because as we all go through what we go through in this very dystopic world, we need help. We need to have someone who can help us. We bought and we've refurbished the building 31st Street right off of DuSable Lakeshore Drive. That's the Bronzeville Health Center. Out of that building, we're providing family medicine and behavioral health care. We have invested $44 million in our impact fund in organizations throughout the county who are providing behavioral health care. We're helping to hire 31,000 behavioral health care specialists. I am sick and tired of my community not having access to health care. I am sick and tired of a 30-year life expectancy between those of us in Inglewood and those who live in Edgewater. So other things we're doing. I'm very proud of the Providence Scholarship Fund. We just finished our cohort this year, but over the last 4 years through the Providence Scholarship Fund, we have resourced the study of our students to the tune of $6 million. So the Providence Scholarship Fund, we open up the application process every March. It ends every April. And what we do is through this process, our students who are studying for careers in healthcare, starting in high school, then college, then post-college, are eligible to get the resources so that they can continue that education. So the Providence Scholarship Fund is an investment in our community because it is based on individuals who come from historically disinvested communities. It's an investment in our youth, and it's an investment in healthcare. So we're going to keep doing that. The last thing I'll say, because I know I'm supposed to be brief, I am next month in May, through a resolution, creating a youth council at Cook County. It'll be the first time Cook County has had a youth council in its 195 years. And I decided to do this because we do not have that voice. How arrogant it is to say you're representing residents in Cook County and you don't hear from our youth. And I know our youth don't want to be told what to say. They want us to listen to what needs to be said. So this is why this is so exciting, and this is exciting in a generational way. Out of this youth council, we will hear from our youth leaders what programming we need to resource. So I want to also partner with the Youth Advisory Council that I heard about this morning, because this is an opportunity for us to do even more and something of great impact in a sustainable, generational way for our youth in our community. Thank you.
Y'all clap for that. I'm really excited. Listen, I think this is important, and I'm getting ready to come to our board members, but I want to give Alderman Dow an opportunity to say something. A lot of times when we have these kinds of meetings, a lot of people, they jump on the stage and they'll say, see, this room is great, but what we need to do is we need to hear from the youth. Well, we heard from the youth. And now as adults, we're coming to our leaders to say, here is what the young people have said. All of y'all in this room that represent organizations that serve youth every day, raise your hand. All of us. We're all senior leaders. So we're coming as adults in all of these sectors to say, let's tell you all what these young people have said and what their parents have said and what their grandparents have said. And now we need to collaborate and come together to make sure that we go after funding, I believe, at the federal level, at the county level, at the city level, and at the board level, because we have an opportunity, as I just announced today about going to get another. I told you all, first time I went and got the first $1 million from the MacArthur Foundation, I said, if we collaborate, it'll work. We did it. Now I said, if he's going to go get some more money today, another $1 million. So can you imagine if all of us collaborate together and not do the hungry, hungry hippos thing? When a marble gets on the table for funding, we fight over it. No, we're going to collaborate and go after the bigger dollars. What say you, Alderman Dow, before I go to my board members?
Yeah, I just wanted to suggest, because your question was about other resources, right?
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful to have a panel like this and bring out Dr. Ige or the DFS Commissioner Green.
Yeah.
Have them bring their budget books, because there are programs and grants out there that we don't even know about. I mean, yesterday I just got an announcement that we have to ask sometimes.
They don't tell us.
They don't tell us.
What?
So you have to be vigilant. So like yesterday, the Department of Transportation put out a grant announcement for electric vehicles, right? We didn't know about it. We just found out about it, you know, where if we have more information, then we could be more proactive with the people in this room. So I think having, you know, someone from the county, those county officials that Commissioner Lowry was talking about, the city people, and make them come with their budget books and tell you what grants they're going to be putting out for 2026.
How many of y'all would like that in this room? Clap your hands up in here. Bring them budget books. I love that. Thank you. That's an excellent idea. And we would not know that unless you all empower us in this way. So thank you. Listen, let me just say this. We are blessed because we have these two board members that are here with us today, and they now know what it's like down there. So first of all, can we publicly thank them for jumping in and saying, we're going to get this thing a track. Can y'all do better than that? Thank y'all for... And by the way, we have a trauma helpline for both of y'all as the inaugural board members. Let me just, Ryan Fest, CPS says the fiscal year 2026 budget protects school budgets, right? But families are still worrying about what we call uneven opportunity. How should communities judge whether a protected budget is actually producing equitable support and intervention where it is most needed? So I'll say it another way. A lot of times we're worried they get more money on the north side than we get on the south and the west side. Is that true, and how should we deal with it?
Well, thank you for having me here, Pastor Harris. If you were to ask and get the data from everyone in the district, they would say every school is funded equitably. Now, here's where a lot of people don't know where the difference lays. I went not only to visit 80 schools in District 10, because I don't view myself as 10A, 10B. I don't play that. I had to run throughout the whole district. So I service schools throughout the whole district. And not only have I visited every school in District 10, I've gone over to Lane Tech. I've gone over to Peyton and walked through their schools to see what they have in comparison to Kenwood. And what I found is there is a Friends of Lane Tech. And the Friends of Lane Tech, if they need Chromebooks, if they need laptop, whatever they need, their friends help them. Now, we have a lot of alumni in CVS. Are the alumni also friends?
This is great.
Where are the Friends of Hyde Park right now? They need them. Where are the Friends of Dunbar and the Friends of King? That's us. That's the CAC. That's the community. That's the alumni of the schools. And so when we talk about equitable budgets, it's not just what CPS can provide. I'll give you another thing. When I look at schools that do well and schools that need supports, here's the difference. When Alderman Dow, myself, Commissioner Lowry, Representative Cam Buckner, yourself, all get together and walk through King together, that's a better King because I bring what I bring, she brings what she brings, he brings what he brings. A good principal knows how to interact and engage with all of their representatives. You don't see that on our side of town work as well as you see on other sides of town. How is that principal as a leader in that LSC engaging with the resources? So you have some principals that will say, man, the alderman came in and we got this new gym. Yes. Okay, great. Do you know your state rep? No, I don't know them. Okay, you missed the playground. So now that's that leader engaging with the resources in the area. Now, when you add all those leaders together with the community and the principal, you have a well-funded, equitable school, and you don't got to have a feeling about it.
That's great.
Because you know about it.
That's amazing. And so, first of all, I think we ought to clap for that. I agree with you 1,000%. And so I just want to make sure that I'm very, very clear. I think I heard you say that every school board member says that the district is funded equitably.
That's what the district would tell you.
Is that true? I can't leave that question on the table.
This is what I'm going to tell you, and I'm just going to keep it 100.
Please do.
As a board member, similar to what Alderman Dow just said to you, number one, I don't know that with the leadership we have right now, that I'm getting not only all the information, but all the accurate information. The majority of elected board members have been cut out of the know, of a lot of issues. And that's what we're fighting on the inside right now. So what we're seeing right now is leadership that says, we want democracy, we want to end the Trumpism, and they're practicing it.
Wow.
As they say, they're fighting it on a national level.
Is that school? I want to make sure.
I'm learning what power does to people.
One second, Ramface. This is powerful, and that's why these meetings are important. So first of all, how many of y'all learned something so far that you didn't realize or know? See, clap your hands. These meetings are important. I gotta push on that. So if you make a statement, you gotta finish the sentence.
Oh, go ahead.
At what level is the information being withheld, if you can legally say that?
No, I can tell you this. If you want a functioning school board, every school board member right now should be on a working committee, whether it's a charter committee, a legislative agenda, a budget. What we've seen in our school board, and I'm just gonna keep it real because, I got elected and I didn't get a point. So,
and you in church and you can't lie. Go for it.
I wouldn't even do it. So what we've seen is we had a charter committee that was working well. We had a superintendent search process that was working well. The president of the board broke up all the working committees.
That's right. Whoa. That's right.
So I don't know where that comes from, but maybe you can tell me better.
You did good, sir. So
when every board member is working, the board is functioning. There are some, what I'm learning is that there are some entities that benefit from chaos.
You're listening to an artist. So.
Excuse me,
Now,
Pastor, can I add one other piece to this?
Preach.
And it's not just what people do, it's also the ingrainedness of the system,
Yes.
right? Where there's never been a ability to get proper information,
Yep.
right? That happens at CPS, that happens at the city council. It's just part of the system. And you have to really break that up in order to get the transparency and the accountability that I think we all in this room would like.
So this is great because I think this is important because ironically, our school board member Jessica Biggs is running for school board president. So, should you become school board president, will you put those committees back together?
Oh, instantly, absolutely.
And that's, see, that is important. And from your perspective as a former principal in our community, served our schools, so thank you. And as a current board member with Greater Bronzeville Ties, what are 2 or 3 clearest outcome gaps that we should rally around right now for Greater Bronzeville schools? And based on your experience and CPS data, would you say many of our schools need stronger programs like tutorial programs?
Thank you for the questions. So as I visit schools now as a board member, one of the things that I want to go to and see first are our youngest learners, our kindergarten through 2nd grade classrooms, and particularly in literacy, right? Because this question around intervention and outcome gaps is always coming up. So I want to go to where we start, and I want to see what is the core curriculum that we are using in those spaces, what is the way that we're thinking about foundational literacy, because if as a system, we could make sure that every single 2nd grader leaves our 2nd grade classrooms and goes to 3rd grade reading and being ready to read in order to learn, right? All of the rest of our work becomes so much easier. So I really appreciated Bridget's presentation in terms of what are the goals and what are the priorities that we set for our system. And this is something I think a lot about. I think in our 5-year strategic plan right now, our aspirational goal is to have about 50% of our 2nd graders leaving 2nd grade reading on grade level.
That's too low.
That's not sufficient.
Wait. Are we clapping?
Yeah, no.
50%. Wait, I want to make sure.
Right.
One second. I want to make sure we just take a step back and just let them sausages sit for a minute on your belly. Because clearly, I don't think we heard what was just said. So wait a minute. I want to make sure we repeat that. I want you to repeat that. Listen to this. This is very important because what we're talking about has not only educational impact, it has economic impact. It changes our community. So goes the schools, so goes the community, right? And it speaks to the value and where we invest. Did you say the goal is 50%?
It's about 54% the way that it's written, right? And I'm gonna push on this, right? Because
we okay if half, a little more than half of our 2nd graders are ready.
I'm not.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, like I said, we can have a conversation about interventions, we can have a conversation about tutoring, but what I'm most interested in, and I think what we as a system need to be
please listen.
asking questions about is, how are we supporting our youngest learners in adequately learning to read from the very beginning? And this is a goal that I would like to see the board set and monitor closely in the way that Bridget named.
So, Bridget, as we get ready to, because there are many questions and we've asked other questions and we'll ask all of our panelists, if you have the time, just put some other things in writing. So we always put it on our website so people can see those other things. But Bridget, you raised something and I want you to raise it now. And it blew me away. Is it true that when it comes to board meetings, less than 20% of the board meeting is about academics and student learning?
14%.
So that statistic comes from an independent analysis of someone who watched every single board meeting from last year. So they watched it and they coded the conversations based off what was the topic. And so for 2025, the first year of the hybrid board, I think all in it was 14% of the board's time was spent talking about students. So yes, that's right. And I think what that speaks to is it is very easy to get wrapped up in all of the adult issues and priorities, right? And our students don't necessarily get to vote for the folks who make the decisions, right? And so oftentimes, I think board members get a lot of pressure from folks who are not necessarily thinking through the lens of like what's best for students right now. It may be what's best for this contract that I need, or what's best for this program that I want to see, right? Which are totally fair things that the system needs to navigate. But I think if we can push the board to decide that more than 14% of its time is going to be focused on things like all of our second graders able to read before they enter third grade, right? That's something that the board can sit and spend time monitoring and talking about.
So everybody who keeps saying it's all about the kids spend 86% of the conversation not talking about children learning.
Not everybody.
So help us on the, well, we're talking about the board. We're not talking about individuals, right? Because at the end of the day, the reality is you got 21 people who will, in November, be responsible for changing this. And I pray that 21 people between now and then will set the standard for what the new cycle is going to be, look like, and sound like. And all of us have a responsibility to make sure we tune in to the board meetings. And we cannot always be reactive. We gotta be proactive. And here is what I do believe, without a shadow of a doubt. We have proven it over here, which is why we're ready to replicate across the city. That when we come together and we focus on our children, our community benefits for the long haul. And so these conversations will be happening all summer long. Next month, we want the other politicians who could not come to be with us to come next month and speak with us. And we welcome all of you all to come back. We had a bit of a disturbance, and can y'all clap? She's doing well. So we're really, really grateful for that. Before you leave out, let me also say this. I also want to give a shout out and an acknowledgement. This young man that has this camera in his hand right now, that was his mother who fell out. And he still decided to be here, check on his mama, come back and keep the work going. Can y'all, come on now. Can you put the camera to see who's clapping for him? That's what you're doing, right? Come on. His mother is going to see that the community cares about her and is glad that she's doing better. So we want to say thank you to you. I want to open the floor. So we lost a few minutes, and I want to give it back because you know we always end on time. And I want to, again, many of our leaders up here, they had other things to do, but I'm grateful. So before you dismiss yourself, I just want to let you know, Krisha, give me the date of next month's meeting. And I want to open the floor for at least 3 questions from the audience. Again, it's not a speech, it's a question. Because we want to be able to give them the opportunity to hear it, and we'll give you some closing announcements. Come on, I got one here. Come on up quickly. Is there a second one? Come on, right here. You should stand now. In the back, would you come? And then here, and then the last one there. So we're going to squeeze 4 in. Y'all clap as they come. Please, questions only, not speeches. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Patrick Pender with District Outreach Industries. We do parent engagement, leadership development. We're talking about budgets. We're talking about data. The budgets and the data are the children, but the parents are the ones who govern the children. So my question to the board is, how can we bridge the gap and include the parents, include their voice, and include their development? I have heard that CPS does not look forward to parents coming to the school and having conversations with the administration. How can we close that gap and give the parents the opportunity to show their value, their worth, and then it can trickle down to the children?
That's a perfect question because we had that one for Ron Fest.
Yeah, thank you. So you and I work together on a monthly basis with the event that I do called Building Futures, which has reached over 10 communities in the district. We've had over 1,000 community members come out to participate, but I don't organize those myself. You help me organize those. Dory Collins from District Outreach helps organize those. Champs Mentoring helps me organize it. And we lead with student panels in student agency in terms of what do they want to see in terms of what would cure student absenteeism, what would help with counseling, what would help with them getting a post-secondary pathway versus vocation. We have an opportunity now with elected board members. When I go into these schools, brother, I ask the principals to give me 2 students to be liaisons to the board so that the students can give me a monthly report on what's happening in those schools. So when you're doing youth councils, I got students from every school in the district that I would like to ask to join your youth council.
That's awesome.
So
That's
when we
awesome.
talk, but guess what? I can't do that without getting parent signatures and sign-offs and relationships with the parents. I can't deal with these students as liaisons to the board member without dealing with their parents. But those are parents I need to turn over to district outreach so that they can get better training on how to be involved not only in the student's life or the school's life, but in community life. There's an opportunity with elected board members to make us a part of the ecosystem and a part of the DNA of what you're doing. So I would like to see how are we working with the Obama Center? How are we working with the Quantum Lab facility to not only include parents in schools, but all aspects of community?
So with that said, and thank you for your question. So with that
Round
said,
up.
all of you all in this room that lead organizations and you would commit, because we got to hold ourselves accountable, partners. We got to hold ourselves accountable. How many of you all will help us to bring parents and youth to be a part of these subcommittees and conversations? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Thank you. And so we'll be reaching out. And so, because you don't have to recreate the wheel, right? Collaboratively, we can do it together because we all win. Next question.
Good afternoon. My name is Dina Chapman. I'm a parent organizer with PMP under District Outreach. I'm also a parent of a child with disabilities. That is very personal to me, very passionate. So as these budget cuts continue to happen with CPS, we often know that the least, the left out, and the last are children with disabilities. So my appeal to you is, what can you do to not only secure funding and services, but increase services and funding for children with disabilities?
Thank you so much for the question, and you know this is an issue that's near and dear to my heart as well. We all should know that the way that we pay for services for our students with disabilities is through an appropriation from the state, where CPS puts forward the money and then we go to the state and say, reimburse us for the expenses the money that we've spent. There is a bill pending in Springfield right now, and it's connected to the evidence-based funding allocation that asks our state legislature to increase the appropriation for what is called our mandated categoricals, right? The way that the money that we get to reimburse for the very services that you're talking about. And so I think first and foremost in this moment right now, to make sure that we are continuing to adequately fund those services, we all need to call our state reps and our state senators and make sure that that appropriation is made so that we do have that money coming into the district, because this is a critically important group of students. It's a federally protected group of students, and we have to make sure that we are putting our money where it needs to go to make sure that they're supported.
And let me just ask this question. I don't know if we got somebody on the computer, the wheel that's up there. What we will do as a partnership is we'll make sure that while we have those stakeholder groups, LSCs, PACs, social services, and things like that, we will make sure that we focus specifically on this stakeholder group, Lucretia. Let's make sure that we do that because we owe that absolutely not only to you as a parent, as a partner in this work, but also the children. So thank you for raising that. You have our commitment. We'll make that a part of our commitment.
Could you restate the bill number? You have that? Why don't we get the bill number?
Yeah.
And we'll provide that to you.
Well, the good news is next month, at our next month meeting, our state reps will be here.
Okay, good.
So we want to raise it up at that particular meeting. So thank you for that.
That may be too late. We need to call. Yeah,
Can we
we just passed the third reading deadline.
Well, I tell you what,
yeah.
so here's what we do. So they are in the midst of budget right now and making decisions. Get me the bill, get me the language. I'll absolutely go immediately to our state reps and email all y'all to make sure y'all can call them as well so we can go get that money. Thank you. This is what these meetings are all about. Next.
Good morning. How you doing? Thank you, Pastor Harris. My name is Marcus Gill, Executive Administrator of Dustin Clean Maintenance Company and also Community Consultant with Woodline Restorative Justice Hub. My question is, how can we reinstitute intramural programs for kids that are already inside the schools that have these after-school programs for young people, and also cultural pedagogy? How do we teach our young people more about their culture that actually helps them educate and promotes better learning inside the school system? And just simple things like they got rid of cursive writing. I want the board to bring back those type of things, reinstitute those type of things within our school system.
I love the fact that when I write in cursive, children don't understand it. Make me feel important. I'm just kidding. But here, Shay, that's ironic. I almost feel like they saw the questions because that's one of the questions.
That's because that's my best friend.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, yeah, you gave him a cheat sheet. Let's go.
So the money's already allocated, and it's already happening. It just ain't happening where you can see it. So let me unpack that, right? You have organizations in this room right now, like my mentor, Dr. Peggy Montez from the Bronzeville Children's Museum. She was back there. Yeah, there she is.
Oh, right there. That's Peggy.
So, who helped put the pharmacy in Chicago State University. Why is she not part of a sustainable community school program? Those programs get $500,000 per school for wraparound services, which is exactly what you're talking about. And organizations like yours, like hers, like what you're doing, like what Pastor Neal is doing. Why is nobody in here part of a sustainable community school group? I'll tell you why. It's in the Chicago Teachers Union contract. They get to say who's a part of it. And it ain't always who's in your community.
Wow.
They get to say which schools get to be a sustainable community school. And it's not always the ones that need the most supports. So to your question, we already do that. But how are we asking questions about how sustainable community schools may need to be the purview of the district and not a special interest group?
Alderman Taylor, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, because that's not how sustainable community schools work, and that's not how it started. And so let's be honest about that start. That started right here in this community because we wanted schools to be able to have those wraparound supports that they actually need. So, and CPS does what it does well, which is take stuff over and make it into something that it's actually not. And so the first person actually to have a sustainable community schools was Janice Jackson.
That's a fact.
She ran it. So I want us to be able to be honest here and be able to tell the truth, because history has a way of rewriting itself. And so what I don't want to do is, and it's what we continue to do, is make it about the unions and everybody else instead of the actual young people that we're paid to represent and serve. And so let's not pit each other against it's one of the reasons why you and I talk.
Yep.
Because we understand that there's an interest And I could go back into history. See, we talk about stuff that we were not there when we started. And so we've been fighting for elected school board for over 30 years. It's the same thing with the community control of the police. We've been fighting for that for 30 years. But you got people who step in those spaces and don't know why it was included. And they don't know their place. And so I am at this, and I'm going to say it because who going to check me? Either help me build it or burn it to the ground. We clear? Because there's something wrong with all of this stuff that is happening. And it is about egos and arrogance. I don't always agree with the mayor. And I do feel like, for the most part, some of this has become the monsters that we fought so hard to replace. And so if I can say it because I'm in it, take that as my honesty in what is actually going on. And so we got some work to do here about what's actually happened. The elected school board is not going to be the magic wand to fix it all. Y'all love quote, and I'm sorry, Pastor, because you like, that ain't what I asked you. We love talking about, we love Harold Washington, but we forgot the lesson. The lesson was that we all work together to make sure that our communities are represented and we speak for our own young people. Can't nobody speak for black children better than us.
That's right. That's right.
But Pastor said it earlier, they will pay a white organization to come sit amongst us and get our ideas and then go, this is what they should be doing. Chicago Public Schools should have been doing what they do best for decades, which is paperwork. They're not good at educating young people. They never have. It's local accountabilities. And so what I hope, I so appreciated what you said, because it's the same thing with local school councils and PACs. It ain't your job to tell the principal what to do. It ain't our job to tell the superintendent what to do. It's for us to advise her, give her the financial support she needs, and then go to the state to actually get it in legislation. Like this ain't rocket science, y'all. We should have been pulled away from this system when they've been, and let's stop acting like 2015 was the school closing thing. They've been closing schools in this community for decades.
That's the truth.
Y'all forgot about McCosh, that they done changed the name to?
That's right.
And Pastor Neal, I'm gonna say this to you because ain't nobody else gonna say it to you. When they gave you that school, they never had a community process. But that don't mean take away your blood, sweat, and tears for what you've done for 15, 16 years. So they are dead wrong. And I'll be the person to advocate with you. Now, what I'm fighting with them about is, in order to, we got to remember that those school communities, we paid our taxes to pay for them buildings. The community should get to decide what those buildings become. And so, but that ain't right to do it on the back of they gave it to you and now they want to take it away. That's wrong. And I stand 10 toes down with you to say that it's wrong. But we better get in a place, because all Chicago Public Schools wants to do is sell off the buildings. They don't care who they sell it to. They don't care what they put in it. And remember, those institutions are sitting in our communities. And I got the most. I got 6 vacant buildings. And so they don't get to decide. You decide to close them. Now you going to tell me what you're going to do with them now? We're not doing that around here. Y'all don't let them.
Y'all clap. I gotta move. Y'all clap for Apostle Jeanette Taylor.
Now, I know you're praying that all cussing here.
That's my girl. Last question. Oh, my God. Come on.
Hi, guys. My name's Marshall. I manage a musical artist named Zion Ali, who performs a lot of high schools, grade schools, nonprofits, to uplift youth through music. But what's some advice you would give youth leaders and youth that are seeking help that we always lack follow-up from the people we look up to, or sense of gatekeeping, like people don't really follow up every time we reach out or really, interact with us. So what's some ways you can motivate us and work you're doing and advice you would give?
Commissioner Bill Lowry, close us out.
I appreciate that. And Marshall, it's always good seeing you and Zion. I think 2 things. One, youth councils like I'm creating is going to be exactly that type of important initiative, so that we can not only be heard, but really let our youth drive the messaging and drive it. I mean, that is important. We got to stop talking for y'all. That's the first thing. Second thing, I want you and other young leaders to reach out to us and say, I need to set up a meeting. I have a Zoom call. Jazz, my district director's here. We do 15 Zoom meetings a year. I'd love to have a chance to hear from you. And every meeting I have, I'm old school, y'all. I take notes. So that's what we need to do. You say to me, I need you, let's go to lunch. You know we're going. And I'm sure it's like that with the others who are serving in the same way that I do. Now, some won't because they're not about service, they're about ego. So you attach yourself to people that really want to serve, really want to learn, because you're a teacher. You're not a student now, you're a teacher. Teach us.
So let me close with it. Y'all clap for that. And please clap for a young person closing out our questions. Come on. He attends all of our meetings. Come on, do better than that. And we are super duper grateful. Let me just share this with those of y'all that are on the scene and those of y'all that are watching us on the screen. This is going to be happening every single month, and I'm really, really excited. And my question and my admonishment to all of you all that are on this stage, like Alderman Pat Dow, we would love for you all to not just be panel members. We want you all to be CAC members, because we need you all at our meetings and at our table. And at the end of the day, your schedules are busy, just like all of our schedules are busy, but we really do all make time for what we really care about. And if you cannot attend, if you can commit to staffers that represent your interests to be at our meetings, we would love that, because we don't want to create vision adjacent to you. We want to create vision with you, so that when you need our voice, we show up for you. And when we need your voice, you show up for us. That's really what we need. I just want to just let you all know that we are really blessed here in Greater Bronzeville to be able to create a model that is seen and replicated across the city. One final shout out to the other CACs that are showing up to this meeting. I want to tell y'all thank you. Come on, y'all stand, other CACs that are in this room. We're showing you collaboration across the city. And these are the folks that we're going to be focusing on without a shadow of a doubt. Take your calendars out real quick. Lucretia, what is our next date? May 19th. Is our next meeting, and we will always get you here on time and get you out on time. The only reason we're a little late is because we had to pause in the middle, but I'm really grateful for all of you all coming today. We will always respect your time. Expect an email from our staff to follow up with what is next. Between now and our next meeting, we're going to start to structure our subcommittees. And we need all of you all that are willing and ready to be a part of this work to sign up. Let me close with the final shout out. Any of our school teachers, principals, administrators that are in the room, please stand. Y'all go crazy for these folks that are in this room. Come on. These are our principals, our school leaders. Come on. Phase 2 is in the house, the family and community engagement. Kareem, listen, one of my absolute favorite movies that was made, and I watch it all the time. It's a 2-word title to that movie. It is your assignment now. Get out. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks. God bless you. See you next month.